Hello, everybody. This is the last Ubuntu hour of the year. This is the third, I think, we have done this year, once a month. And the idea is just to talk about topics related to the Ubuntu community. If you have questions, we have a chat in ubuntuonair.com where you can put them and we will try to answer them. If you want to participate on the video chat, you can do that too. The link is in community.ubuntu.com. So there are a few seats here left. And let's start. I'm Leo Arias. I'm member of the Ubuntu Community Council, and I work on the Snapcraft project. And here with me, as usual, we have an interesting mix of people. We have people from the community, and we have people who are participating on Google Coding, which is a project for teenagers, for students who want to get started contributing to free software. There are more than 20 organizations. Ubuntu is participating there. It's been like 3 weeks of the challenge, and there have already been like 200 tasks completed. So it has been amazing. A lot of interesting work coming. So why don't you introduce yourselves? Walter, can you say hi, please?
Yes, hello. My name is Walter Lepchinsky, and I am also a member of the Ubuntu Community Council. I work with the flavors Ubuntu and Kubuntu, which was a lot of fun. And I'm also a mentor for the Google Code-In, so I've been kind of helping out a little bit here and there with that, and that's been going along well. This is actually the third year I've done it. I've done it once before for Ubuntu and another time for KDE, which was actually a interesting thing in and of itself. And that's my story.
Great. You choose who's next.
Gustavo.
Wow. Hi, my name is Gustavo from Portugal. I'm currently a member of the local council, and there isn't much more interesting things to say. I'm recently trying to reactivate my local community here in Portugal. We had a long downtime period, and we're trying to set things back on track. And since I'm also a software enthusiastic, I'm also trying to contribute to Snapcraft, which means I usually disturb a lot of Leo's time.
Not at all. Thanks for your work. It's very appreciated. You choose who's next, Gustavo.
Well, it can be Conrad.
Hi, I'm Konrad. I'm from Poland. I'm a Google Coding participant since less than 2 weeks, and done some tasks related to Snaps and Snapcraft. And I'm generally interested in ICT and programming.
Great. Thanks for coming, really. And the last one is Jake.
Hi, I'm Jake, and I'm doing the Google Code-In. I just wanted to do it to learn about open source projects and how to contribute to them and stuff. So, and I'm a student in the UK.
Cool, awesome. This month has been really interesting. First, thinking what are good tasks for newcomers, but making sure that they are of all levels of expertise because they are young, but they know a lot. So there are some tasks that are really complicated, and they are finishing them nicely. But there's still a lot of time too. The contest ends, I think it's mid-January, and holidays are coming. So if you're a student, you can go to code. What's the website?
Coding.withgoogle.com.
Yeah, it's weird. Coding.withgoogle.com, and we will be helping more people. There's a lot of time. There are tasks for really new people, like how to start installing Ubuntu, and there are documentation tasks that will help you understanding how to get productive with Ubuntu. And then there are coding tasks or other kinds of tasks. We can talk about that later with these two guys that are joining us today. But we have a sort of agenda, more or less. The idea here is to just discuss about whatever comes. So if somebody throws a question, we can digress and start talking about that. But the proposed agenda is to first talk about the code of conduct, which is what let us work together. We are a very diverse community, people from all around the world, many languages, many cultures, many situations and contexts. So as part of the Ubuntu community, we agree to follow a code of conduct and be nice to each other. Why don't you tell us a little more about that, Walter?
Okay, yeah, I'd be happy to. So first things first, I'm going to drop a link to the current code of conduct in the IRC channel for anybody that wants to kind of follow along. But yeah, I mean, it's really important for us to be inclusive to people of all different backgrounds, and make sure that all of those different members and perspectives in our community can actually work together to the common goal of keeping Ubuntu working well. So if you look at the code of conduct, there's basically two sections. One kind of talks about leadership and how I don't want to say government works because that really smells like it's bureaucratic, but some kind of like organization to ensure that kind of everything works out well. But the first thing are basically the basic tenets of what the code of conduct is like. This is what we expect everybody to do within the community, whether they're posting a comment on a bug report, or they're on IRC, or on a mailing list, or they're committing code, or whatever it may be. Wherever there is Ubuntu, these are the expectations that we have. And by the way, feel free to interrupt me if there's any questions. But the first thing is to be considerate. So basically the idea here is that working together, we're all working for a common goal. So we need to certainly consider other people's feelings and opinions and attitudes. And so certainly, one of the things that's really important is, the language that we use, making sure that that language is inclusive, making sure that that language isn't offensive. And, if you sit around an IRC for a while, invariably somebody will say something innocently offensive, and, somebody will pop out a link to the code of conduct, because though it may be innocent, a little expletive about why Bluetooth isn't working, for example, that certainly could be offensive to some people. The next point is being respectful. And I kind of want to, again, use a contentious word, just like government, and that's professionalism. Obviously, Ubuntu is a project, kind of held up together by, the bootstraps. We're all sort of working together for the purpose of creating this whole thing. But it is, an environment in where we need to be respectful of one another and work together with one another. Sometimes people have differing priorities as far as what they might want, and just ensuring that those discussions or conversations surrounding those are dealt with respectfully. rather than becoming a personal issue. That's an important thing there. The third thing is taking responsibility for our actions and our words. That one's kind of obvious. The fourth one is to be collaborative. And I really like this one a lot because I think it sets the expectation that everybody is somebody we depend on in some way or another. In a very meta way with Ubuntu, you can look at it as how we depend on Ubuntu, on Debian and what Debian does, and we depend on the upstream developers of all of the various different projects. You know, for example, we have the GNOME desktop. Well, you know, the upstream developers of GNOME are important collaborators of ours. And furthermore, downstream counts too. Linux Mint, for example, they're basically taking Ubuntu and kind of changing it around a little bit or adding a bit to it. They're also collaborators of ours. And so, you know, working with those people in mind, I think is really important as well. The fifth point is to value decisiveness, clarity, and consensus. And I think that relates a lot to the idea of, you know, being considerate, being respectful, being collaborative. It kind of pulls it all together with the notion that we're always working towards resolving issues and coming together on a decision so that we can move the project forward rather than getting stymied by arguments about things. And that also has a clause in it that deals with what to do in the event that doesn't happen, which is to escalate it to leadership, which again is at that second section. The sixth part of the code of conduct is to ask for help when unsure. It's always good to ask questions. Not everybody knows everything. I've certainly learned a lot of things through the Ubuntu community, and sometimes I feel like, you know, I have questions to ask that are well underneath the experience of people around me. But, you know, I think if we're working collaboratively, we're more than willing to help people with those questions. And then finally, to step down considerately. So, you know, if you decide you want to leave or disengage, do it nicely. So, long story short, whole thing is be nice. But, you know, those definitely expound upon that in a way that's super duper clear.
Yeah, it sounds like.
Before I.
Sorry, it sounds like very, very obvious and very basic, but it's not. In a project with millions of users, thousands of contributors, it's impossible to like everybody. It's impossible to be nice every day. There are some bad days, and well, these are the rules to how to deal when those things happen. And they don't happen often, but they happen sometimes. And we are dealing with a few of them at this time. So that's why we wanted to bring it to more people's attention. And we have found a lot of problems with the code of conduct, not with the rules, but with how to communicate it with everybody. Like, make it obvious that if you are involved in the Ubuntu community, we have high expectations of your behavior. Like, we can understand sometimes things go wrong, and sometimes people get frustrated, and there's a lot of passion. We do this because we love it. It's not because of the money. It's not because of the fame or anything. It's because it's very fun and it's very interesting and it's very useful. So we have to follow the rules. Be nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And and I think that, we've had a little discussion about just kind of making note of the code of conduct in more places. Most of the canonical, and I say that with a lowercase c, channels on IRC, if you join them, you'll get a note about the IRC guidelines, which references the code of conduct. That's really good. But, I mean, there's other places where, we could leave that too, and further emphasize it. The other thing too that we were talking about recently is the fact that for an Ubuntu membership, you have to use pretty good privacy to sign the code of conduct, which is kind of an interesting thing because it's kind of like it's sort of a way of more explicitly recognizing the code of conduct, and also perhaps maybe accepting a little bit more responsibility to guide people about it and introduce it to new people and help people understand it. And I think, regardless of Ubuntu membership, the more that we can kind of encourage people to do that for that purpose, I think that would further help our community.
We were talking a lot actually over the last week about this, but it sounds cool. Like if you sign the code of conduct, we have even higher expectations. Like you read it, you agreed to it, and you will help us enforce it. Like when people get misaligned with the objectives of the community, you will try your best to, in a nice way, try to resolve the problem. And if it's not possible to find a good solution, like at that time in that discussion, escalate it. And for that, we also need to get better at communication. Like we are the community council, and we are open to hear from everybody from the community, like any kind of problems. That's our job. That's what people elected us to do. So over the next year, we will be working on making the code of conduct more obvious, like appearing everywhere, like pervasive. And we will work on making our processes more transparent to make people feel that they can just jump into this call and say what they want, or if they want to have a private chat with one of us, we will be always there. It's work in progress, so we will also accept help from anybody in the community if you have ideas on how to improve. Do you want to add anything about the code of conduct, Walter?
No, I just think, it's a crucial element of our community. It's how we work. Without it, there's a lot of room for issues, especially with, as you said, how broad the overall Ubuntu community, all of its collaborators, all of its stakeholders are. It's a necessary thing. It's really important. And, it is something that this is actually the second version of it. It's a community effort in and of itself. So, I mean, certainly I just want to make it super duper clear that if anybody has any suggestions or any questions about it, things that need to be clarified, stuff that doesn't make sense, situations that they're not sure how it applies, definitely bring it up to us, because those are things that we need to work on resolving. Actually, do we have a Launchpad project for the code of conduct?
Yeah, there is.
So you could always file bugs against it. That counts too.
Yeah, it's an evolution, and as the community evolves, our rules need to evolve too. So it can change, and I really think the code of conduct is what has kept us alive. This is a technical project, and there are a lot of interesting technical solutions to hard problems, and that's important too. But the only way to combine them into a consistent operating system that makes sense is to work together and to be nice. So take a look. If you haven't signed the code of conduct, try to sign it. That would be nice. We have a new member in the call. Marcin, are you here with us? You have just stood up.
Hi, I'm there.
Hey, how are you? Can you please tell us your name and what do you do? Why are you here in the call?
I'm Martin and I'm participating in Google Coding.
Great. Where are you from?
I'm from Poland.
Cool.
Go Poland.
Another young student who
Strong.
has doing amazing things these past weeks. We talked a little about signing the code of conduct and Ubuntu membership, and an important part of this is the local teams, local community teams, and they encourage people to start contributing. They are closer geographically and closer culturally and speak the same language, so it's a very important thing to the community. And we had the election of the new local council 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and we have Gustavo here, who's a member of the new council. So why don't you tell us how things are going, Gustavo? Are you still here with us?
Yep, yeah, I am. I'm muted because I'm on a laptop, and when I type, it's a huge mess. So I don't want to bother you guys. Yeah, regarding the local council, so it's frankly it's a new experience to me because at least I take it a little more seriously than it maybe you can expect from it. But I think it's a very important team in the Ubuntu community because it can help other locals to stay active and stay productive, which was something that we experienced here in Portugal in our local community. It hasn't been much time since we started actually, and the first week or so we were organizing ourselves, passing information to each other, and we have as far as I remember, two experienced guys in the council. So they were telling us what the information is and what we should do, what we should expect. The first meeting was last Monday. First ever meeting of this new council was last Monday. It went pretty fine, very straightforward. We had the chance to do 1, 2, 3, 6 re-verifications of local verifications. This sounds redundant, but the process is locals can apply to be known or called as verified, which is a state that says, okay, this local is active, they are productive, they do things that deserve more merit, and we, the Ubuntu community, recognize their efforts.
Can you tell us which were those locals?
Yeah, it was the Arizona local team, Myanmar, I think that's how you spell it, not exactly sure. It was the Venezuelan local team, the Tunisian, Portugal, and the Switzerland team. Two of these were postponed for the next 2 months because we thought that they should work on their front pages of their team just to update the things a little, because I mean they're active but they just don't have the information up, and we thought that they should. The remaining teams were accepted. You can check the logs in the I'll post a link to the IRC because we have that information there. And yeah, this took some time because we looked We looked at each application thoroughly, not just, okay, this sounds active, just let it go. We took it a bit seriously, and we tried to make sure that only active local teams were accepted. And yeah, we are thinking of creating a tool like, a Python bot or something like that, just to try to get in touch with teams automatically when their validations are expiring in 2 months. Just a heads up information, and also a way for us to control if we can expect them to apply again or not, because this is something that is happening often. I mean, teams somehow forget to reapply, and we lose verified local teams. And of course, that we want as many as we can get. And yeah, I think that pretty much sums up the 2 or 3 weeks of work in the new local council, and the last meeting that we had on Monday.
Cool, great work. 6 teams already on the first meeting.
Yeah, let's hope that we can keep them, really.
Yeah,
Four of them are already accepted because they had everything up to date, and it seems stable and active. Well, the other 2 still have some work to do, but I'm really hoping and expecting them to nail it in the next validation.
I've never been able to get my Costa Rican team approved. I need to work on that.
You should.
Yeah, I will. I will be in touch with you to get some guidance on good ways,
Yeah,
and maybe.
I could suggest who to talk to.
Yeah, we can try to reach anyone in the canton, really. I think that everybody is pretty okay with that. There is some information out there how to prepare, or rather how you should prepare before these meetings. But there's also the possibility to get in touch with any of the 5 of the council. I can send a link to the IRC so that you can see who is in the council. Let me just try to search for that. I can search for the link later when I pass the word to someone else. But yeah, of course, you can get in touch with anyone in the council to get some guidance, or maybe just, ask for help if there is anything wrong or that you think that is wrong.
Yeah, let's do this year. December next year will be the party of the approval of the Costa Rican team.
You can do it earlier. I mean, come on.
I have a lot of things to do. It's better to do it slowly.
Yeah, I know.
It's a good date.
You should package it into a snap so that everybody can do it really easy.
Yeah.
I can definitely work on that.
Cool. So thanks a lot, Gustavo. Thanks to the team. Really, like, your help is really appreciated. We will be working together for 2 years, the new community council and the new local council.
Yep.
So let's see what crazy and interesting things we get going.
Thank you very much.
All right, and that's the second topic of our agenda. So for the third topic, we want to talk with these young people that are participating on Google Coding. The start, I mentioned a little about coding, which it's an amazing project. There are mentors that try to help people getting started into free software and guide them on useful things. The idea is not to just do busy work, but things that are useful for our projects, for the community, and for learning. So why don't we go and make a round with the 3 of you, where you tell us like the tasks that you are involved, the things you have learned, and maybe there are many free software projects around. So why Ubuntu? Why are you in this community? What brought you here? And we can start from the left. Jake, can you start?
So I got involved with it because my dad listens to the Ubuntu podcast, and they talked about it on there, and he told me about it. So
He must be so proud of you.
yeah. So yeah, I've just done one Ubuntu task as my first one, which was to make a snap of a Python application, which I found really good because I didn't really know what a snap was. And yeah,
What
Was it easy?
application did you?
it's called Cheat, and it lets you like run the cheat. You run the cheat command and then pass in like tar or another command that you like forgot how to use, and then it'll give you like a small cheat sheet on how to use it.
So, sorry, Walter, I interrupted you.
I just wanted to know how easy it was to create a snap for you, since it was your first time doing it.
I found it really easy because you just do the I was using this tool called Snapcraft, which lets you make a config file, and then you put in all of the steps that you need to do to install it, and run the thing, and it'll make it for you. Really easy.
I love this application because the example is with tar and how to uncompress something, which is something I can never get right on the first time. So I always have to go to Stack Overflow and see the order of the arguments. So no longer, I will just write shit until I memorize it. Thanks a lot. It's going to be very useful. We can go back to you, talk a little more about your participation in a few minutes, but let's see, Conrad, can you tell us about your experience?
I choose Ubuntu because personally, basically it's my main operating system, so the choice was quite natural. As I said, I started doing tasks less than 2 weeks ago, so it's quite late, but I've done tasks related to snaps, so finishing the tutorials and packaging and publishing a few snaps, probably 5. These tasks were really great, and what snap is, and basically making a snap was for me really easy and intuitive.
Awesome. Can you tell us a few of the names of the snaps you wrote, you packaged?
Yes, it's a Markdown book, so a snap which makes a HTML book from Markdown files. The second one is Markdown lint, which just checks Markdown files for issues. I've also made a snap for 2FA. It's a command line tool which supports two-factor authentication. Also, I've made a snap for TCPIE. Sorry. It just pings every port you want, so quite a simple tool. And the last one is 2Sheets, which some data sheets.
Great. Also, amazing work. Thanks a lot. And we hope to continue seeing all of you in the community. I hope that the coding will stop, but we will still be seeing you around.
Yeah.
Martin, how about you?
So I've also made some snap pages, and I have written some tutorials for tutorials.ubuntu.com, and
yeah, what do you think about the tutorials? That's a new thing we added this year to the community, and some of the tasks of Google Coding are like write a tutorial, translate a tutorial, but we have found them very useful for getting people started. Like instead of teaching the same thing over and over again every time somebody new comes. We tell them, go and follow this tutorial and then come back if you have questions, and then we can continue doing things that are more interesting because you already have the basic knowledge. So what do you people think about the tutorial? How useful have you found them?
I found them really useful. Oh, sorry.
There's a little delay on Hangouts always, so it's hard to agree who goes first. But
Okay.
we get used to it. I like repeat my first word 2 times until I'm sure I can talk. But oh well, it let us connect every corner of the world, so we deal with it. Why don't you go first, Jake, and then we can go back to Marcin.
Yeah, I find it really useful with the tutorials because lets you sort of see how to do it, and I prefer like in text because then you can go through it like at your own pace than with a video. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. We also have videos. So you didn't like the videos? You preferred the tutorials?
I didn't know that there was any actually, but yeah, that's why I prefer the text-based one.
Okay, so it would be great if you check them out. It's on youtube.com/snapcraft.io, and like give us your honest opinion. It's very useful to hear from people who prefer text than video and start planning accordingly to match what the community needs. All right, Marcin, you were going to say something about the tutorials?
So I just think that they are useful, and probably the most useful tutorial was how to write a tutorial.
It was a happy coincidence that they were ready just in time for this coding.
It's probably the most useful tutorial for Google coding participants. My English isn't so good.
Right, I lost my connection a little. But if people watching this want to take a look at what available tutorials are, you can go to tutorials.ubuntu.com. There are programming tasks, but there are also like installation tasks to help you getting started from the very basic things. There are even tutorials for how to use Windows to bootstrap and start using Ubuntu, or how to package applications using Windows, which is a little weird and crazy thing that we are now trying, and there will be more about it. And we need more tutorials, so if you are good writing technical documentation, give it a try. You can contribute anything that interests you.
I searched for Windows right now, and it looks like there are no tutorials about Windows.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you at all. Can you repeat that, please?
I searched for Windows, and there are no tutorials for Ubuntu organization about Windows, and the best tutorial, the best task would be to persuade the Windows user to leave it for Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely be a good task.
Yeah. Find your freedom, people. Walter, you are being a mentor, right? Can you tell us about your tasks? What have you done?
I've done very little, actually. My intention is to put some things on there for Ubuntu, and I've just been really busy with other things and haven't. So there will be some things coming on there from Ubuntu, most likely specifically focusing on testing, as that's always a fun thing to do. But also, we're working on the development of a Qt version of our desktop. So testing out some of the new stuff there might be cool. And actually, just mentioned something on IRC that I'll be adding a task to sign the code of conduct.
Good. Very good. And there's still time. I'm thinking for Snapcraft that we need to refresh the available tasks, because there's one student who said I completed all of the possible snapping tasks. So we need to figure out some more challenging things to do. Do you have any suggestions? Like you have already completed a few or many of the tasks and many of the tutorials. So do you have something that you would like to work on that's not available on the tasks?
Net neutrality, web is done. Google, sorry, you no longer have this.
I was going to say you could always propose something challenging, like, I don't know, something that has this clause in a variety of different services. But that, you know, kind of also violates the notion, I think, of Google Code-In kind of being bite-sized tasks.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a violation. We can explore that. I recently started loving the chatbots, and we have one or two on the Snappy channel. So that's like an unlimited project. You can always add more commands, and the commands can run anything that you can think of. So I think I will spend my vacations, my holidays, thinking about some of the things I would like to see, but I haven't been able to do because of the short time available. And maybe one of you can take those tasks. That would be awesome. And I have seen people doing awesome pull requests. We have like 10 new contributors to the Snapcraft code base. So we need to start. We started saying that people can fix bite-size bugs on Snapcraft as part of the Google coding. But now I'm thinking we can actually start giving them like medium complexity bugs and start seeing what they create, like something not very specified, something that you have to research and make up and iterate. That could be fun. Okay,
yeah, I mean, you can always add tasks that you know, fewer people get involved in, and you can leave a little warning that this is like an intermediate task. You know, maybe give an idea of like timeline or something like that. It doesn't hurt to add extra tasks.
Yeah, still a lot of fun, and we have talked already for 45 minutes, which is a lot. We need to talk a little about Meta, about this meeting, because it was usually on the third Friday of each month until we decided to make it the second Friday of each month, because the third one to close the holidays and people might be away. And now I'm thinking that the third Friday is a little weird. Like, why don't we move it to the last Friday of each month? That sounds like easier to put in a poster and to get people involved.
Are you suggesting that we do the first and the last?
Well, no, I don't think we should do two yet, because We will start repeating people and topics, and maybe at some point, but probably not yet. I'm saying just the last Friday for now. Can you? Does it work for you, Walter?
Did you? Yeah, it works fine for me. Did you check the fridge calendar?
I did not. Like,
I'll do that
why?
real quick.
Is there something
just
on
to
the
make
last?
sure that there's nothing else. Well, I mean, you know, my ideal is that there's nothing else conflicting, so people of, you know, whatever they're involved in can participate.
All right. Well, we have a lot of time, so we can discuss if we want to make the next one on the second, third, or fourth week of January. We can discuss it on the hub. Gustavo, you're working with Locos and with your local Portugal community. How possible do you see that for January we will have some real live Ubuntu hours, like people meeting in some place and doing installations or giving support to each other?
You mean in Portugal only,
Well,
or in any local that I know of?
let's start with Portugal. Are you going to organize one for January?
Okay, I wouldn't say for January, but here's the thing. The Portuguese local is basically split into two regions. So we have a northern region, which is only me, basically, and then you have the south guys that they meet at least once a month in two different places. But the event that they organize, it's more like a how do you say it? It's just a social meeting. So they gather around, they talk about Ubuntu, have a few beers and burgers and so on and so forth. But I think that we could do something more interesting to people outside the Ubuntu world. And I wanted to, you know, ask around other locals, see their events on their pages and see what they do, to see if there is any kind of event that we could organize, maybe in my region and in theirs. And one of those is the installation parties, as I don't know if that's a known name around, but I like to call it that way, just the installation party.
We call them install fests.
Yeah, I have that too, right? So I want to do that, and I don't want to compromise with a timeline because I'm, you know, pretty much alone organizing this. So I have to find a place and, you know, invite people.
You're putting pressure to me to get the loco verified before December.
Come on, you're giving yourself a year, and you're asking me to do this in like 1 month or so.
Fair enough. Let's take it slowly. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, but that's in my personal plans. I definitely want to do that, and you know, tell people around that if they want to install Ubuntu, they have someone that they can reach out to if they get stuck somewhere, in case they, you know, find any sort of difficulties. But I want to bring the South guys to this region of the country and have them meet me and potentially other people that we don't know yet. You know, have some fun, have new Ubuntuers, and increase our local. That would be the most wanted goal of 2018 for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, interesting year ahead. This year has been great. I'm thankful to all of you. But the next year, I think, will be amazing. We have a task in Google Coding, which is to organize an Ubuntu hour in your school. But I didn't know how realistic that was. Jake, Conrad, and Marcin, are your classmates interested at all? Do they know what Ubuntu is, or are you the outliers and only ones supporting the revolution on your schools?
I don't think many people in my school know about it really.
Yeah, that complicates things if they are just not interested. But I don't know, maybe we can find some resources, print a few posters, or distribute flyers, and you just put them in a corner and see if people take them. Maybe a few will get interested, or maybe not. Well,
Yeah,
we
and
will have to see.
I think it would probably raise awareness about it as well. So.
Sorry, I didn't understand. My English is not good enough, and after 50 minutes, I start losing the track of what's happening. Can you repeat slowly, please?
Yeah, so I think it would like get people to sort of look out for Ubuntu and like sort of know what it is.
Right. If you have ideas of how we could help you getting your friends interested or finding new friends from your region that might be also happy to contribute to Ubuntu, that would be awesome, because the things that you can do alone are like cool, but once you get together and start hacking with 3 other people on something that's interesting to you, it's not like multiplying your work by 3. It's like it's exponential. It just explodes and gets to awesome places. Conrad, are you still here with us? Maybe not. Marcin, any last words? We are about to close up. Do you want to say something else?
You're welcome. And keep me updated on
I think the younglings are shy.
Yes.
No, we just have some problems with the internet, to be honest. Me and Marcin.
Yeah, that happens a lot, and it's understandable. I was just saying, do you want to say something else before we leave? Any last comments? Any last questions?
Just speaking about this Ubuntu hour in our school, I'm going to tell my class about it. So, my class Gen 2 Linux, so it's quite, for me, crazy. So I would.
You're cutting very badly, and I understood the gist of what you said. But let's continue talking. If people are interested in Google coding, we have an Ubuntu IRC channel. It's #Ubuntu-Google. You can find more information on the community hub, where we are always hanging, community.ubuntu.com. And we will be talking a lot more. Yeah, I hope to see you again next month. If you have the time, it would be great to meet with you again in person. It was great meeting you, and I'm very, very happy of the work you are doing. So if we can help in any way, just let us know, and we will jump to it happily. Walter, Gustavo, anybody else? Some last words before we close up?
Just wanted to wish happy holidays to everyone.
I didn't understand, sorry.
Me or Walter?
He was saying he wanted to wish us all happy holidays.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Yes. My holidays start like in a few hours.
Okay, so I bet you're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I will be in the beach tomorrow morning. So if you have Google tasks pending, you will probably need to be a little patient. I won't have a good connection. I will be back home on Monday. So.
Dude, that's not the definition of holidays.
Well, yeah. We are
There's
weird
like-
people.
There's like holiday, and then there's holidays.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know the feeling though.
It's more like a relaxed state. We will still be in our computers doing our personal projects, but without a rush.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just wanted to say
It's-
thank you for all the students participating in Google Code-In. It's really awesome seeing all this work, and I will again reiterate what Leah said, that we definitely have a place for you in the community. So hope you continue to hang around, and thank you, Leo, for putting this all on. Your leadership is always greatly appreciated, and I will once again say congratulations to the Loco Council. You had a lot on your plate. You did awesome, and happy holidays.
Thanks to all of you for all the support, and for the people watching this live or afterwards. Remember to be nice. Remember to follow the code of conduct. Sign it if you believe in it, and we will see each other next time.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi.
Bye.